Jake Paul got hilariously clowned by Mike Tyson after a brutal KO in a sparring session. The dude was on cloud nine after his win against Mike Perry, bragging all over the place that Tyson's loss was just around the corner. So Tyson, being the legend he is, challenged Jake to prove it before their actual fight. And guess what? Jake was kissing the mat in less than 2 minutes. The funniest part is the excuse Jake came up with after "we'll have you in stitches." And if you didn't hear about this sparring match, it's probably because Jake Paul tried to keep it under wraps. But hey, I got wind of it. Recently, this jaw-dropping moment happened when boxing titan Mike Tyson sparred with the ever-controversial Jake Paul. And boy, did it end with a bang. A surprising KO that left everyone stunned. So why did this sparring session even happen? It's not every day you see a seasoned legend like Tyson go up against a YouTube star turned boxer like Jake Paul. For those not in the know, sparring sessions are essentially practice fights. They're a crucial part of a boxer's training regimen, a way to sharpen skills, test strategies, and get a real feel of the opponent without the stakes of an official match. Fighters spar to prepare, to learn, and sometimes to humble themselves. In this case, the session was more than just a training exercise. It was a collision of two vastly different worlds. Tyson, with his decades of experience and raw power, and Jake Paul, with his controversial rise to fame in the boxing scene. The motivations here were clear. Tyson wanted to see if Jake had what it takes, and Jake? Well, he wanted to prove he could stand toe-to-toe with one of the greatest. Sparring is like getting a sneak peek into the actual fight. It's where boxers can assess their techniques, figure out their weaknesses, and build endurance. It's not just about throwing punches, it's about strategy, timing, and reading the opponent. For Jake, this was a golden opportunity to learn from a legend. For Tyson, it was a chance to gauge the young challenger's prowess. Then the moment came. In a blink, Jake Paul found himself on the canvas. Yep, you heard that right. Jake Paul, the guy who's been making waves with his trash talk and social media antics, got KO'd instantly by Mike Tyson. The crowd was in shock. The internet went wild. How could this happen? Jake, who's been boasting about his victories and calling out big names, faced the harsh reality of stepping into the ring with a true heavyweight. This knockout wasn't just a physical defeat, it was a symbolic one. It was a stark reminder that experience and skill can trump bravado and hype. Mike Tyson didn't just knock out Jake Paul, he clowned him, showing the world that there's a significant gap between being a social media star and a seasoned fighter. And as I told you, Jake's excuse was absolutely hilarious. He never misses a chance to find an excuse when things don't go his way, and this time he's pointing to his recent bout with Mike Perry on July 20th, 2024. In true Jake Paul fashion, the YouTube star turned boxer quickly chalked up his less than stellar performance against Mike Tyson to the physical toll from his match against Perry.
You guys are f***ing idiots, and these people are allowed to vote. Scary times for the United States of America.
Let's rewind a bit. Just a few weeks before the infamous sparring session with Tyson, Jake Paul stepped into the ring with Mike Perry. The fight was as intense as you'd expect. Mike Perry, a seasoned MMA fighter turned boxer, didn't hold back, leaving Jake with a series of bruises and cuts. By the end of that fight, Jake looked like he'd gone through a meat grinder but managed to scrape out a win. It was a victory, but it came at a price, leaving him physically wrecked right before facing Tyson. Post-fight, Jake's condition was far from ideal for taking on someone like Mike Tyson. His body was still healing, and he had visible bruises and cuts all over, as he himself said.
But I don't know, my arms are sore as today from all the punches and...
Well, you look great.
This wasn't just a few scrapes. Jake was dealing with serious injuries that could majorly impact his performance. And boy, did it show when Tyson sent him to the canvas. Now, Mike Tyson, being the seasoned and strategic fighter he is, had actually warned Jake against taking the fight with Perry. Tyson's warning wasn't just friendly advice. It was grounded in the reality of boxing preparation.
Yeah, Mike Tyson called and was like, hey, what are you doing? Mike Perry's a killer. We could jeopardize everything. The biggest fight of your career, the biggest payday of your career. And that's what makes this such a crazy fight. That's what puts the pressure on me. That's what raises the stakes.
Tyson knew Jake had a much bigger match coming up. His scheduled fight against Tyson himself on November 15th, 2024. This was the kind of fight that demanded 100% focus and peak physical condition. Tyson, who's seen the rise and fall of many fighters, understood the importance of preserving your body for key matches. He advised Jake to skip the Perry fight and focus on preparing for their upcoming clash. But in classic Jake Paul style, that advice fell on deaf ears. Jake's response to Tyson's caution was dismissive, almost flippant. He bluntly said it was his choice to fight, and he wasn't going to sit around waiting for his bruises to heal. Jake's stubbornness and reckless attitude were on full display. He insisted he couldn't afford to waste time and was always ready to fight, no matter the circumstances. This decision to ignore Tyson's seasoned advice shows a lot about Jake's approach to boxing. It's clear he values the immediate hype and attention over long-term strategy and career longevity. And if you think Jake will just bounce back in time because the fight is still 3 months away, you need to understand a few things. First off, this fight has been brewing for quite a while. The clash between the seasoned boxing legend Mike Tyson and the brash newcomer Jake Paul is more than just a fight. It's a spectacle that promises fireworks. This bout is set to be one of the most talked about events in the boxing calendar. With the build-up involving a mix of trash talk, strategic mind games, and a significant age and experience gap, the Tyson versus Paul fight has all the ingredients for an explosive showdown. Now let's get personal. Mike Tyson, despite his intimidating presence and legendary status, has been battling health issues. Specifically, Tyson has been dealing with an ulcer. It requires careful management and can significantly impact physical capabilities. Despite this, Tyson has shown remarkable resilience and determination to get back in top shape for the fight against Jake Paul. His journey back to the ring, battling through his health issues, is a testament to his unyielding spirit and love for the sport. Jake Paul, on the other hand, hasn't exactly shown much empathy towards Tyson's condition. In fact, Jake's remarks have been nothing short of insensitive. Jake bluntly stated that he couldn't wait for sick people to recover, and that he was ready to fight anyone, anytime. This comment was a thinly veiled dig at Tyson's health struggles, showcasing Jake's disregard for the challenges faced by his opponent. Such remarks have only fueled the tension between the two fighters, adding another layer of drama to their upcoming bout. Adding fuel to the fire, Jake Paul's defiance has been on full display. Against Tyson's advice, Jake went ahead and fought Mike Perry on July 20th, 2024. Tyson had advised Jake to focus on their upcoming fight and avoid any unnecessary risks. But Jake, true to his impulsive nature, ignored this seasoned advice.
You know, I'm not in the gym just to be in the gym. I love to put it on the line. I love to take risks. I love to do big events, and I love this. I love every aspect of this, and he's a dangerous man.
He was adamant about taking the Perry fight, prioritizing his immediate desire for action over strategic preparation for the big match. This decision wasn't just about ignoring advice. It was a clear indication of Jake's rebellious and reckless attitude. So what are the implications of Jake's actions for the November fight? For starters, Jake's bout with Perry left him battered and bruised, affecting his physical readiness for the Tyson fight. This isn't just about the visible cuts and bruises. It's about the deeper physical toll that such a fight takes on a boxer. Recovery from such a match isn't instantaneous. Entering the ring against a powerhouse like Tyson without being in peak condition is a gamble. Jake's decision to fight Perry also speaks volumes about his mindset. It highlights a lack of strategic thinking and a disregard for the bigger picture. While Tyson has been focusing on recovering and preparing meticulously for their bout, Jake's impulsive actions suggest a more haphazard approach. This difference in preparation could play a crucial role when they finally face off in the ring. Furthermore, Jake's defiance and brashness haven't gone unnoticed. The boxing community, fans, and analysts have been buzzing about his choices. Many see his actions as a sign of immaturity and a lack of respect for the sport. By ignoring Tyson's advice and putting himself at risk, Jake has shown that he prioritizes short-term gains and hype over long-term success and preparation. This has led to widespread speculation about how prepared he will actually be when it comes time to face Tyson. And it's nothing new from Jake. Jake Paul's journey in the boxing world has been nothing short of a spectacle, but it's clear his quest for hype and relevance often overshadows his dedication to skill improvement. Jake's primary focus has always seemed to be on staying in the limelight, generating headlines, and making sure the buzz around his name never dies down. This approach has brought him significant attention, but it also raises questions about his commitment to the sport. From the very beginning, Jake Paul has been more about the sizzle than the steak. Instead of honing his boxing skills, he's consistently chosen to create controversies that keep him in the public eye. Remember his infamous challenge to Conor McGregor in December 2020? Jake took to social media with a $50 million offer for a boxing match, complete with a vulgar video that insulted McGregor, his wife, and the entire Irish nation. This stunt wasn't about boxing prowess, it was pure showmanship aimed at grabbing headlines. This focus on hype over skill isn't just a one-off incident. Jake's actions repeatedly show a preference for buzzworthy moments over genuine competition. Take his fight with Nate Robinson on November 28, 2020, for instance. The match was more of a circus act than a boxing bout, ending with Jake's knockout of Robinson, a former NBA player with no professional boxing experience. The fight was widely publicized, but it did little to prove Jake's capabilities as a serious boxer. Instead, it cemented his reputation as someone who prefers easy victories that generate massive media attention. Jake's controversial actions go beyond his choice of opponents. His trash talking is legendary, often crossing the line into outright disrespect. After his win against Ben Askren on April 17, 2021, Jake didn't miss the chance to call out more established fighters with taunts and challenges, focusing on creating a spectacle rather than respecting the sport. These actions, while effective in maintaining his visibility, have drawn criticism from boxing purists who see him as a disruptor rather than a true contender, heavily influenced by his antics outside the ring. To many, Jake is seen as a master of self-promotion, a modern-day P.T. Barnum who knows how to keep the public's attention. However, this perception is double-edged. While his ability to generate hype is undeniable, there's a growing belief that Jake is the most ill-mannered boxer in the sport. His behavior, characterized by relentless trash talk, disrespect for opponents, and an apparent disregard for the traditional values of boxing, has made him a polarizing figure. Some fans are drawn to his brash persona, while others, especially boxing traditionalists, view him as a stain on the sport. Jake Paul's trash talking is legendary, but not in a good way. His mouth runs faster than his fists, and he uses it to get under the skin of his opponents and stir up controversy. One of the most infamous examples was his relentless verbal assault on Dillon Danis in December 2020. Jake ambushed Danis during an interview, hurling water balloons and insults from a moving truck. He called Danis a clown and a coward, using offensive language that went way beyond the usual pre-fight banter and straight into harassment territory. Similarly, Jake's decision to fight Ben Askren, a retired MMA fighter known more for his wrestling than his boxing, was another example of targeting an opponent who wasn't in his prime or element. Askren was well past his peak fighting years and had no professional boxing experience, making him an easy target for Jake to secure a win and boost his record. These choices suggest that Jake prefers opponents who can bring in viewers and headlines rather than those who would provide a genuine challenge. This brings us to the notion that Jake Paul prioritizes hype over honor. His actions consistently demonstrate a preference for creating buzz and maintaining relevance over respecting the sport and his opponents. Jake's approach has led many to view him as a showman rather than a true sportsman.